This is the Disturbing the Peace podcast with your hosts, Justin Lanero and Ruben Stanford.
Yo, Rube.
Yep.
What's going on, man? It's been a minute.
It has been a minute.
Episode 13, baby. I know it's tough getting three of us. I feel like this is deja vu saying it. You know, we have different lives, but when this is a show, I mean, we put our hearts into it and we're not going anywhere, so we're here to stay. What's going on, man?
I'm chilling. Everything is good, you know. Election day. Got a little free pass, 3 courtesy comp hours to cut out of work and, you know, do my civic duty, which is dope. I love that.
Beautiful.
The state's being responsible.
I was thinking about you earlier. I've been, ever since you mentioned the Central Park 5, I've been trying to research it as to how things went. And I think about you when I read a lot of these different things, you know, and it's heavy. I've yet to watch the Netflix series, but it's like a really good idea as to, you know, what happened and the bullshit that went down there. But I'm getting around to it. In fact, somebody asked me the other day about the name of that Netflix series.
When They See Us. When They See Us.
Okay. I have to get into that. Read about the settlements and they were compensated, but of course you can't get that time back.
Right.
Heavy stuff.
Heavy stuff, but just quickly, the way Ava decided to go about breaking up the show into like 4 parts, it really takes you from the beginning to the end of how the legal system has its flaws and how difficult each segment can be, from the initial arrest that took you into the police stations and how the Miranda rights were violated, to how the case then moved to the courtroom, how the media played its part in the courts. And then each person has its story of how they dealt with prison life. And then, of course, there's always the being reintroduced into society afterwards. There's 4 parts to, you know, being a part of this criminal system. So the way she broke it down was awesome. I think everybody should check it out. I think it's like real. It's real cinematography. It's real movie watching with a purpose. It's something that I think you're gonna see more of it coming out of Hollywood. So, you know, like the Chernobyl series that ran on HBO. Like, there's some really serious documentaries. I mean, really serious dramas that are being made that will highlight some things that we saw in the news, but we didn't get the full picture. So I'm glad to hear that you that you're going to check it out, and that you're going to, you know, that you've been spreading the word about When They See Us. Now they're going by the title Exonerated 5. They want to drop the Central Park 5, because they felt that has such a negative media push to get them locked up to begin with, that the media played a huge part in framing them in this way as just a bunch of savages. So some serious stuff out there, boy.
Yeah, it's heavy. And your boy Trump was tied to that in some regard. Was he like around back then or something? Like he didn't
Absolutely. I mean, he wasn't the only person. I think there was you know, some politicians that were trying to make their names off of this case. There were some political figures. At the time, they were private citizens, but they in Trump's case, he took out full-page ads calling for these boys to be executed. You know, so he basically put a bounty on their head. You know, which is, when you think about
what a shocker that is.
When you think about it, ultimately this person became the president of the United States, and then he doubled down, as he does, on the fact that DNA testing absolutely did not exonerate them, that there are people that still believe they are guilty of the crimes, and he's one of them. So, you know, it just shows you what kind of individual he is. And like I said, the New Yorkers from all walks of life have been privy to see some of the antics that Trump has displayed here in the city. From being a guy that I know, that I've heard people in the certain sectors say that he welches on donations. Like he'll make a donation and he won't actually come through with the check. Like he'll just do it for grandstanding purposes, raising his hand saying that, you know, he vouches he vows to pay or to make a hefty donation to a cause, but then the check never comes. And this is coming from people that have just as much money, if not more money than him, and they realize that, you know what, this dude was a scumbag. But the rest of the nation needed him at the particular time, you know, following a black man, following the Tea Party's cry for some change and some flashback to golden era when um, rights were violated and civil rights were violated. We now have Trump as the president, but that's just where we are.
We'll talk about that video you sent me from Queens maybe later on the show or the next episode, because that's something I want to talk to you about as well. But let's pivot a little bit, Mitch.
Right.
What's breaking?
Woo!
Hey guys, what up? What up?
So good, Mitch.
Word, chilling, man. Well, definitely, we found a good one this week. I was pleasantly surprised because it intertwines a couple of my favorite things, which is hoops and hip hop. So, turns out that one of the premier players in the league, Damian Lillard from the Portland Trailblazers, is a rap artist, which I didn't know. He put out an album in 2016 and had like some pretty marquee features on it with like Lil Wayne and Jamie Foxx, whatever. But even more impressive, he's beefing with another rising star, young gunner, Marvin Bagley, the third from the Sacramento Kings, who also is spitting bars. And these two have a rivalry. They have put out diss tracks towards one another. And I just want to say that, you know, when I first got the link, I was expecting, you know, Shaq Fu, Allen Iverson, Jules, KOBE, Kobe Bryant featuring Tyra Banks, kind of, you know, just trash. But immediately, I gotta tell you, first of all, these two guys, regardless of what they're saying on the rhymes, they chose some fire beats. Like immediately, I'm like, okay, they know what's up. Like this is not just, you know, they have the money and the resources, so they're just gonna, you know, go on Front Street and get in the booth. Like they did their homework, and you could tell by the beat selection. So right off the bat, I give them props. And then, man, I mean, what can Dame Lillard not do? I mean, the dude definitely has flow.
Yeah.
I can't really talk about the content of his album. I didn't listen to his album, but you know, he has a strong opinion about MB3, and you know, he just holds his own. Like his rhymes are smooth. You know, shit sounds current. Everything about it is dope. And then Bagley does his thing as well. I mean, it doesn't really come across as smooth. Maybe his rhyme scheme just isn't as sophisticated or as like locked in, but it's dope. You know. I'll tell you this much: Freddie Fox wouldn't have a problem with these two dudes doing their thing. I know he called out AI a while back. You know, he said, "What did he say?" He said, "What's with these basketball niggas? I'm screaming double dribble. How they 9 feet tall, but rhyming just a little." Yeah, you know, he's not really. Yeah, these guys are definitely doing their thing. So,
I mean, I think Dame is nice. You know, he's clearly the nicest rapper in the NBA. He says that, you know, that's just pretty much what it is, you know. But the best part of it is that this all started because Marvin just simply said, hey, you know, he was kind of goaded into it. I think it was Max Kellerman asked him if he thought that he could spit bars at Dame, and he was like, yeah, you know, sure. He half-heartedly kind of went into it with, yeah, Dame is the only guy that raps. And then Dame just went all in, like took the bait, jumped on him, and then tried to annihilate him. You know, I think is he rhyming on the Duppy beat?
Is that what that is? I didn't even know.
Yeah. So
the nice beat though. The beat is nice.
The beat is serious, and you know, right now he's just holding it down as being Oakland's finest. He is the best rapper in the NBA. It's hands down. I don't think Marvin was that smooth. I agree with you, Mitch. I did like the fact that he had the energy, the
energy, the voice.
He had the energy that said, you know what, I'm not about to back down. And this all took place while the NBA draft was happening. So like the NBA offseason is kicking off with an amazing start. Just shout out to the New York Knicks and RJ Barrett. Shout out to Steve Mills and the rest of the guys over there at the New York Knicks for not screwing this up, going to get the young gun RJ Barrett from Duke, Mount Verde Academy, the Canadian the Maple Mamba. The Maple Mamba is now in New York. So we're excited, but right as that excitement is kicking off, I gotta say, Dame Dollar is serious. The one line that I did like that Marvin Bagley hit him with is like, yo, you've been quiet for a minute. I guess I made you hot just by mentioning his name. So I will say, you know what, Dame was kind of quiet, and he also said he had a nice line where he said, without Lil Wayne, what is it? You just another nigga in the booth. Woof.
Oof.
Woof.
Damn.
Yeah, that's like he wasn't playing with him. So I'm excited about the NBA offseason because this is pure entertainment. I mean, there's no, the NFL is beautiful, but this is a good reality series right now when the NBA has the best rap beat in music right now. The best rap beef in music is coming out of the NBA. Who would ever thought that we'd be here in 2019?
Westbrook.
I know.
Dame.
I know Russ. Does Russ rhyme? Russ just
so,
looks like he's just cutting patterns and stuff.
He looks like Farnsworth Bentley, basically, next to Puff. I'll say this much. This reminds me a little bit of like the WWF when you used to have like those hype videos in between the matches when they'd be talking shit. Like that's what I want to see. I want to see, Ultimate Warrior winding himself up, getting ready to get in the ring and smack someone up. And this is like MB3 better back it up, man. Drop a fucking triple-double first game.
He's
Kings
a young
versus
buck.
Blazers. He is.
He's a young buck on a young Sacramento
Kings team.
A sick team.
But I like, you know what? Maybe I'm impartial, but I'm liking a lot of one-liners that Marvin said. He said, he said, Adidas sent me a pair of Dame.
Yep. I sent him back.
He said, them shits was whack. I sent him back.
I sent him back. Then I signed with Puma. Now my pockets is fat.
Yeah. I said, okay. That young guy was not playing with Dame. He wasn't taking it lightly. He's not rolling over. He's not just letting Dame walk all over him. So I got to give him props for that. So, this was a great What's Breaking because, man, it's good to see young guys being able to, do a little verbal judo on the mic and still be able to go, toe to toe and keep it lyrical. So that was dope.
While we're on sports, and I think it is kind of cool because I'm with you, Mitch. You're talking about Shaq used to rap and AI. This is
Shaq Fu.
The beat grabbed us, Rube. When you sent me that a few days ago, I was like, damn, that's a beat. I think we grew up in an era with Premier and RZA and, so many different producers that the beat would grab you. As a white boy from the suburbs of Boston, it wasn't even necessarily the lyrics all the time. It was the beat like, yo, that beat's fat. So, it's good to see a beat that we could relate to, and of course, Dame is probably a top 5 or 6 point guard in the NBA.
Oh, right now, what you think, Mitch? I think he's top 2. Top 2. Who was better?
I would agree. He might be the number 1 scoring point guard too, aside from maybe Steph Curry. He's the guy. But I mean,
Russ, man. I still love Russ, man.
I love Russ.
You know what?
On him, boy.
Something happened to his jump shot between 2017 and 2018. I don't know. His jump shot was not. He was like less than 35% from 3 this year. That to me,
he's asked to do a lot, and that's the thing.
I guess. His
hustle. He's not.
I mess with Russ. He go a mile a minute. He's got that hunger, but he got to learn how to play at different speeds. But like my man Dame said, where I'm from, big bank take little bank.
Damn.
That's that Oakland view, right?
Kemba Walker might sign with the Celtics. I'm hearing, so that'd be cool.
That is fucking butter. A lot
of good young NBA point guards. The future is bright. Listen, while we're on sports, Ruby, we were going back and forth the other day, and the NFL shit is heating up. I want to talk to you a little bit about Christian McCaffrey playing a primarily. We can all be in agreement that most of the skill positions, the NFL, well, the
Mm-hmm.
NBA, of course, is predominantly black, right? Now you
Right.
got this dude down in Carolina that I was kind of skeptical about coming out of Stanford, the conference that he played in. But there were a lot of people within the football industry that said, this dude is like white chocolate. I'm like, yeah, right. He was doing it against
Right.
all the bullshit teams. But here we are. Christian McCaffrey, and we talk about the best running backs of the league. He has to be in that sentence with Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, the Gurleys, the Bells.
Absolutely.
So,
and his versatility is important. We talk about his versatility. You and I, we would say just from a versatility standpoint that Christian McCaffrey is probably the best wide receiver on the Carolina Panthers.
You like Curtis Samuel, though.
I do. I am a big Curtis Samuels fan. I do think he is going to be the heartbreaker to all of the guys that's going after. They want more to be the guy, but I think it's going to be Curtis. But like you said, Christian McCaffrey, what is he? That's the white chocolate. He's what Jason Williams was to the NBA of point guards. He's got a lot of flair. I think Alvin Kamara up until last year got more shine, but he was basically, I think Christian McCaffrey just wasn't used the right way the first year. But as you saw last year, he could handle the load. They didn't blow smoke up our asses, and the Riverboat Ron came through. He delivered. He gave Christian McCaffrey a lot of touches. But the thing about the NFL that we just talk about in general, and I think Mitch, we've said something about this before, that in athletics, white athletes get certain adjectives to describe how their players and what they're capable of on the field, and black athletes also sometimes, whether it's warranted or not, we black athletes can be labeled athletic or super athletic without the IQ, and then oftentimes white athletes they just find themselves being called shifty, gritty. They have savvy. They have a certain IQ that allows them to play at a skill position and succeed where it's normally like right now it's predominantly a black space. So we got guys like Adam Humphrey, or what's my guy? What's his name? Thielen. You got Thielen. These guys are putting up huge numbers. Julian Edelman.
Humphreys is good too, bro.
Humphreys is great.
Too. He's like a poor man's Adam Thielen. Yeah.
Yeah. And people, we automatically just assume they're not athletic. But when you go look at their numbers and you comp them, I mean, they are succeeding not because they're more savvy. They're succeeding because they're supreme athletes. Most of these guys still ran track, just like their counterparts. It's just happened that, we have the bias to just assume that white athletes can't play in a physical space or can't have that kind of wiggle. We're not expecting Christian McCaffrey to have that kind of wiggle, even though his father, he has the pedigree. So I'm not quite sure why that's out there. Well, I'm sure it's simply because he's a white boy, but he's definitely going to put all of that to bed. And I think, and I will say this, I don't know if you agree, Mitch, but there's a feeling I know a lot of my guys, they embrace certain white athletes when they do have that wiggle, when they do have that sauce. Like Jay Will is,
yeah, exactly.
Jay Will is loved. He gets loved.
That's right.
Baker Mayfield is getting love, because he's got that sauce. He's got that
Moxie.
Joe Willie Namath type of feel to him, that he'll go on the field with a full length chinchilla on and it's 90 degrees and still be looking like I'm chilling,
Broadway Joe.
Yeah. So, what do you think about guys like, we mentioned Christian McCaffrey, we mentioned Baker, but
Julian Edelman, baby. How about some Julian Edelman love?
Yeah, guy that played quarterback.
No, exactly. It almost is like when you get a white skill player that has that sazon, that flavor. It's like they're embraced. It's like the Professor on the N1 tour. Like when he broke on the scene, people didn't even know what to do with themselves. They were
He's
like,
still balling.
What? Yeah, exactly. And he was doing shit. It's like he took it and went exponential with it, and so he just had ultimate love, was totally embraced. And I guess it's kind of like being a unicorn. It's like it's like watching some fucking disorienting, but yet it's like this beautiful mixing of worlds. I don't know. I'll tell you this much. Why is it dominated by black, athletes, in those positions? I think because when you kind of grow up with like being forced into an athletic sort of like you're expected, like this is going to be your channel. You're running the foot races. Everyone, you're coming up against everyone on the playground, trying to be the fastest. Like you pointed this out a couple of shows ago, actually. And I just think like those things, when you start early, you just have like an acumen for them, for explosive speed and for shaking off a defender. And I just think those things come when you're just constantly going up against people one-on-one. I mean, everyone's 1v1. Like that's how you were judged on the playground, if you could take someone one-on-one. So maybe it just starts early and it's like a mindset,
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I think I'm watching guys here in the city. I got a lot of my guys that have their sons on the AAU circuit. I'm watching the New York Lightning, which is the EYBL Nike endorsed team. They're in that league. A lot of the young, I think the secret is out. I think it was something that guys like Dolph Shays and some of the early generation, Jerry West, Rick Barry type guys, they took pride in playing at the playgrounds, and they practiced against black athletes, and they look forward to getting in that arena and playing well against them. One of the things that I remember watching in the Larry Bird documentary was that he said he took it personal when the opposing team put a white player to guard him, threw a white player out on the court to guard him. He said he took it personal because, he wanted a black guy on him. So he said he cooked the white guy so fast that the coaches switched up and would put the black guy on him. And then he said he felt better. He felt like it was, it just gave him the respect that he needed. So, I think since we're talking about Christian McCaffrey and we're talking about the Carolina Panthers, you cannot talk about the Carolina Panthers without speaking of Cam Newton, Superman himself, Super Cam. And I think he's going to do amazing things this year. I think he was injured. I think his body wasn't completely, there physically. And I think he's going to come out this year and he's going to put up some numbers to make people check themselves and remember that Cam is probably one of the most physically gifted athletes at quarterback that the NFL has ever seen. And he's so much so that he's a uniquely physical guy that I think he's going to go back to being boys against a man against boys. What do you think, Just?
I talk about Cam Newton on the show with Bob Harris, my other podcast, and Bob says that Cam Newton is the Carolina Panthers' best goal line back, which is the truth. And he's coming off an injury that is pretty scary. Andrew Luck has had an injury, and bounce back, but Cam Newton is certainly good for the game, and he's good for the Carolina Panthers. I think, in fantasy circles, he can just about damn nearly be had for free, so that's good. They play in a tough division, but Cam Newton, you guys see that thing the other day about $1,500 for a seat for more?
Oh, yeah.
Like leg room, and like, damn, the dude was like, no.
That's right.
I love Cam Newton. He's good for the game. He's got that smile. And he does play in probably the toughest division in the NFL, and in my opinion, the NFC South. So I'm all the best for Cam Newton, Carolina Panthers. I like that offense quite a bit with DJ Moore.
Yeah.
Healthy Greg Olsen is going to be there.
Oh, no. Come on. Stop it. Stop it.
Hey,
Did
Jason,
you just say Greg Olsen?
Yeah. Hey.
My God.
We got a little white.
What are they holding Greg Olsen together with? Tape?
Well, same thing could be said for Jason Witten's back. So
listen, Jason Witten, Tyler Eifert, all of these guys are being held together by tape. Come on, stop it.
These goofy white boy tight ends.
Oh,
but
Christian
McCaffrey is a good story. And as a white boy, it is. It's. I'm thinking about like how many white running backs we've seen. And it's like I remember Mike Allstott, and he was more of a fullback than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom Rathman and Mike Allstott. Those are fullbacks that could just
So,
pound it.
but
Haven't
he's
really Can't really think of any like small or shifty, fast white running backs within the
Danny
last
Woodhead was
15,
pretty
20
good.
years.
Danny Woodhead
You
was pretty
gotta
good, but
get
he's not Christian McCaffrey.
Now, Danny Woodhead was a good. What do we call these guys? What kind of backs are these now? Satellite backs. That's
Like
the
a
new.
satellite backer.
That's the cool. That's the cool word, right? Satellite back.
Right.
You know. So that's. I think you're right. Christian is definitely a lead back. He proved that he's a horse. I saw some pictures. He's bulked up. He's looking strong. So, if you're out there and you're into fantasy and you're looking to make some noise and you got a redraft or you got a dynasty league and it's something that you're into, don't forget we have our promo code with DraftKings. Hit them with the promo?
Peace.
Peace.
PEACE. Sign up on DraftKings. We'll hook you up a free ticket. If you're not on there, you got any questions about DraftKings, hit up Ruben, hit Mitch up, hit myself up. I can, give you a little tutorial. It's a great website. And they support us, so we certainly support them. The nice thing about DraftKings is you're not married to a team. Once the NFL season drops, week to week you go, and you're not married to anybody. So if somebody gets hurt, you move on. A lot of people get hurt in the NFL. So let me say this about Christian McCaffrey. One more thing before we pivot. He's good, but he's not like my boy Saquon Barkley. I've been telling Barkley is, and I knew this a couple of years ago, and I've been telling people, I said, you got to watch this kid. Just something meets the eye that I haven't. 230 pounds of just beauty. And it's a nice thing to see because there are good running backs in the NFL. Alvin Kamara, talk about the girlies who's banged up, hoping to be Le'Veon Bell in a new spot, DJ in Arizona. But Saquon Barkley, gentlemen,
Yes.
is a very, very, very talented running back. And it sounds, we could drive by saying that, and I sound like a goofball, but when I tell you that he is one of the best running backs I've ever seen, he is in the same sentence as LaDainian Tomlinson, in my opinion. Just that meets the eye from a talent standpoint. I wish he was on a better football team, but I think he'll get the ball 300 times, and he's worth the price of the admission. Just as a Giants fan, I am not. Certainly not a Giants fan, but damn, the man, he was a man amongst boys in college, come to the NFL and same shit. So, Rube, we done talking football? I'm going to talk about shit.
I'm good. You brought up the fact that, when you play DraftKings, you don't feel bad about cheating if you have to pivot, if you have to move on from an injured player to somebody else that's running a little hot and you want to get on the wave early. But let's talk about cheating in real life. There's situations. I've been talking to some of my guys where, I got young guys that are moving into they're adulting. I got some 19-year-olds to 25-year-olds that I talk to, and they're moving around, and some of these guys are wanting to settle down quickly, and then some of them are in the position where they're saying that's not their thing. And then I got my guys that we're all in this mid-range of 30 to 40, 45-year-old guys. And, the idea of cheating, like I'm watching people, for me, I've watched married men in circumstances put everything on the line. So William is home. I always talk about my guy, my son, William, who just came back from school. We had a nice little sit down, and we were just talking about what happens when you're in situations and it's a fork in the road. How do you handle it? How should you go about handling young relationships where you may not be as committed and then you find yourself cheating? How do you handle telling the girl, or accountability, or everybody just waiting to get caught? And then, of course, we pivoted into talking about cheating once, or the possibility of cheating when you're a married man. And so I'm always trying to set a good example for the kids. And, I just wanted to get a feel for it from you guys. Like, what were your perspective? And I'll jump in on anything that you might say.
Well, I'll jump right in real quick. It's something that I've done over the course of my life. I've yet to be married, never cheated on, long-term girlfriends as a older in life, I think certain things are being up to interpretation. I've misbehaved quite a bit, and in reflection, through messaging. Now, I guess in 2019, I think first of all, you got to determine what is considered cheating.
Right.
What is, because the world is different now with phones and so on and so forth, and in social media and DMs and messaging, and I found myself in some trouble. And younger, things were different. Anytime you're involve kids in a situation in marriage, it's obviously different. Now, I think in reflection, some of the behaviors that I've displayed is, you have a sense of insecurity, and you want instant gratification. If you're feeling, sometimes we have a tendency to project our insecurities on others, or we reach out and you want to feel attractive to someone else, or you got to really look within, or you're not secure as a man, so you want reassurance from somebody else. So certainly it's unacceptable behavior, because you're playing with somebody else's heart, and you're playing with somebody else's emotions, and it's and you're not even going to get into the physical side of things if you're cheating on people. And we talked about some of these people, and you hear the story, they cheat on the significant other, come home, bring the disease to the significant other. It's obviously it's unethical, but personally, I think we all have been guilty of it in one form. Back in the day, going back to when we were kids, but the stakes are higher when you're an adult, and you got to fess up. You got to fess up to it. You got to explain why. And what's interesting, and to me, is it's like when you have something good, and you have something has moral fiber, and you have a woman that cares and that loves you and that adores you, and then you find yourself in a situation where you're messaging inappropriately, or you're saying things that you shouldn't be saying. You ask yourself, well, all right, you've obviously upset somebody. Why did you do this? And a lot of the problems come from within, and a lot of those things are, whether it's fear-based, or there's a level of insecurities, like I said, and then you try to prevent it from happening again.
Right.
But I think.
But do you think you can? I didn't mean to jump in, but do you think you can? Like, one of the things that I look at is how do you and the person that you are in this relationship define what cheating is? And I thought that was the best. How you opened, like, define what cheating is, and then also how do we stand? What is our values on relationship? Do you want sexual variety? Let me know, because I think we should. I think one of the things that guys are not, and women are not often saying to each other, is that, hey, I'm open for some sexual variety as well, which means I'm looking to link up with somebody else, as long as you're cool with it, and we can both come back together and just say, hey, this is the space we're being honest, and how do you feel about it? I think it requires a discussion, and I just don't think we oftentimes have that discussion. So therefore, we do things like in a cloak and dagger kind of way behind doors, and maybe you get a thrill out of it, because it does create some excitement. It is new, but I don't think we oftentimes even ask the question, would the person even be mad? Like, I've been, when I was young, I remember cheating on a girl, or finding out that somebody cheated on me, and I pretended to be mad because it was just something to do, because I knew I had been cheating. So why the hell did I really act like I was so mad? I just went through the motions, just because I just assumed that's the role that I was supposed to play as the boyfriend that just got cheated on. When it was like, whew, really, you cheated too? Good. Now we can just break up without there being any stress.
Yeah, now we got a good excuse. We can, I don't know about dab. Like, I don't know that I could have one of these relationships where somebody's out messing around. It's like, I don't know if it's a domineering thing or what, but it's kind of weird to me. I just couldn't envision myself saying, hey, it's okay for you to go sleep with this person. I can go sleep with that person.
Right.
What's mine is mine. What's yours is yours. We should be happy. But then you got to ask yourself, are you pleasing that person spiritually? Is that person fulfilling you? And I think a lot of the times people venture outside the relationship because they're not being met from a spiritual angle, or they don't feel supported, or they're
Right.
not physically being pleased, so they're going to go get it elsewhere. And so these are
Hmm.
conversations that need to be had within the relationship.
Right. And I mean, if you've, I don't know, if you have that type of relationship with your, the person that you really care about, I think it's important to share that. You know, like if I actually feel like I would be ready to have a conversation if I cheat, because when you cheat, one of the things that I don't think a lot of guys are talking about is how the whole, especially when you're married, I don't think people think about how your whole world can crumble if this great revelation of being out there cheating and moving
Mhm.
around doing your thing, how that can ruin your entire
Family.
uh, family. It can destroy it. But I do think that women should be given more credit, and men should be given more credit, that if you cheated, just come back and say, hold yourself accountable, fall down on your knees, explain to me what happened, tell me what happened, and then give me the option to be able to decide on what it is that I want to do. You know, I think that's important, because if my wife cheated, or I feel like if I had a breakup baby, because I'm looking at Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, for example, had Dwayne Wade had a on break baby while dealing with Gabrielle Union. That's a high profile relationship, and they was able to move forward. Kobe Bryant and Vanessa were able to move forward after his incident that happened in Colorado. So there is room, and there are examples of how people can still pull themselves together, find a way to move forward after people cheat. And I
You
think
got to have
that's what.
trust, though, Rube. You got to have
Right.
trust. My father used to say, if you don't have trust, you don't have anything. And that's true.
I agree. I
Tough
agree
to
with
earn
that.
that. Tough to earn that back. You know, it's forever like etched in the minds of some. Like, all right, we know what happened. What's he doing? What's she doing? What are they doing behind the phone? Where were they tonight? You know, because that person has a tendency to behave that way, and it's a hole to crawl out of. And once that trust is broken, you know, I
So
think
who's responsible? Like, say, or in a married situation, since you guys, Mitch and I, we're the married guys here. Who's the responsible party in um the who should be blamed if a single woman has an affair with a married man? Uh, who would be the person that would carry the water and say you're at fault for this happening? Because it seems like a lot of times women are blamed for being home wreckers,
No, well,
for ruining my marriage, or someone getting in between what my husband and I had, or something like that. Like, I've heard those words being said and tossed around. So what do you think about the responsibility? Who does the responsibility? Where does the responsibility lie in being able to secure the love between the marriage, between the
that you
spouses?
guys take vows, you know, holy matrimony, and till death do you part. Like the married couple is, you went the distance. You got married. You have rings.
Right. But
There's a
even if you don't have rings, because I
there,
mean, we live in a society now, we don't have to go through the
there's
ring stuff. I
paper,
mean,
but there's
for tech.
paperwork involved. I mean, technically, you're a
Right.
married couple. It's your house. Shit hits the fan. You're splitting up assets. Like, you know, that single woman is just, she is what she is. She's a
yeah.
single woman. You're the one that is almost contractually binded to another individual with like you said, a lot at stake. So it's, you know, I don't, ethically, do I think that if the woman knows that you're married, then, you know, but she's not married to your wife, or she's not married to your husband, you are. So it's your job to say, look, I'm a married man, I'm a married woman, no, that's out of bounds. I'm not going there. So
Right.
Mitch, what do you
Yeah.
got? What do you got?
No, I mean, it's with, like you said, what your favorite part about this show is just like different perspectives that all come together. And with this particular topic, all these different perspectives, they're all right. They're all the reasons why people stray. Whether someone's feeling inadequate or unsupported or unmet or unloved or not enough affection. Those are all reasons why it happens. And bringing it one level deeper, like what Ruben's talking about, like if a couple is open-minded enough to grant each other that freedom, like, okay, when you feel the need to do that for your reasons, which may be different than my reasons, I'm giving you the hall pass, because we all know we're coming back to the same homeroom at the end of the day, and
Fuck
that's a
that.
thing. Yeah, I'm just saying that's an open-minded
I definitely
new
think
way.
that's a great way of looking at it, because you got to also think. You got to think. We're talking about sometimes people making it 50 years.
Yeah, it's a long life, man. It's 5 decades of, you know,
The same cookie. You could say
same.
it.
Yep,
The
the
same
sameness.
cookie.
And you know what? And here's the other thing too. It's like, I don't know any couples. Like, I don't know any 90-year-old couples who, when I'm sitting down talking to them and they're telling me about their life, they're like, "Oh yeah, we were polyamorous, back in the 1940s." Like, I don't know any 90-year-old couples that made it the distance and had like an open door type of thing. But you definitely hear about it nowadays. I mean, just coming from the generation that a lot of, like, Gen Xers and Gen XYers and all Gen Zs, like, it's going to be probably a more common occurrence. Whether or not those relationships withstand the test of time, so to speak, only time will tell. And then furthermore, like, is that the ultimate barometer of success of a marriage or relationship? If you make it till your dying day and don't split or don't cheat. Like, I think a successful marriage could be one that transforms you in all the right ways, or like begins and ends at the right time, or does last forever. I mean, it just depends on your view of marriage. I mean, that's a whole other topic. But when it comes to cheating, I'll say this: I think, if a single person gets involved with a married person, then the onus is on the married person. Like, that's the person who's going to have a price to pay. The single person can go home, like, they know the liability they're going in with. They know that they may just be a rebound, or like a little bit of a cover up for like the married person's insecurity, and they may get dissed at the end of the day, but they'll go home to their cats or their twin bed in their studio apartment. This married person has to go and rip up the roots of the family unit and the kids, who the kids grow up and they have this structure in mind. They have this identity that's forged around the family unit, and then you're gonna go and flip that on its head. Like, there are other people involved, so that's a different story.
Right. I mean, it's real. I definitely think that Mitch is hitting on the points of being able to say what makes a marriage or what makes a relationship successful. Are we measuring it the right way? I do agree with what Jess says as well. Is like, shit is a lot of things are on the line when you are in a marriage, and if everybody isn't on the same page, and if cheating is a complete deal breaker where the whole shit is going to implode, then you might want to just stay in your lane and not find yourself being bored or not find yourself being enticed. But it's a good conversation to have. I think all of these things should just start with a conversation and start with some
Jewish
questions.
guy said to me one time from Brooklyn, a Jewish guy from Brooklyn said to me one time, he said, "Justin, the woman that you're with is supposed to bring out the best in you.
Mm-hmm.
The person that you're with is supposed to bring out the best in you." And I think that's a good barometer too. If you're with that person pushing you every day, and you're feeling that cohesiveness each day, and if you're feeling loved and you're feeling support and all the above, then you're not going to need to stray outside of the relationship. But we are men, and we personify this macho image, and
But I can see it. I could really see a person falling in love with multiple women. I could really see. I mean, it's so common that even in the marketing, you can go to the. I think you can go to the drugstore now and find in the Hallmark section the Mistress Day cards. Like, you can buy a Valentine's Day card a day early for your mistress. Like, I mean, I think it's marketed. I think we do understand that some relationships are going to be open. I think it's I question whether or not monogamy is the way men and women should have to kind of conform to this idea of being able to stay with one person for the duration. I think like the best um, thing you can do is take the relationship day by day, but be respectful. I don't even know if cheating is it really cheating if you tell the person? Is it cheating if you can be honest and say this is what it is? Because you know why you're in a relationship, and you know what the relationship, the value it has for you. If my wife and I value each other in a certain way where we can be honest, and I don't think it's for everybody, but I do think everybody should be honest so that you don't find yourself running around and bringing home diseases because you've been, slipping out on the side. I think there's a certain amount of transparency that everybody should go into their relationship with. So that's one of the things I try to tell Will. And, as a young guy, I say, listen, don't worry about getting, find yourself being so serious in a relationship early, because I know you're practicing and you're pretending to do the adult thing. But first of all, just know who you are, and then be clear on what your boundaries are. Have some boundaries, have some values that you can say, this is who you are, and you can always explain it and articulate it. So, that's where we are. We're going to see about how this reaches people out there. And if anybody has some thoughts on it that want to email us, you can email us or hit us on Twitter so that we can get a feel for what the our listening audience is feeling about it. Our disturbing the pieces. What you got next, Jess? Anything good?
Yeah, well, we're on the topic of infidelity, which a lot of times when there is infidelity, there's sex that goes into it. But, sex is big, right? And we're all in, some form of relationship, and a lot of people are. When you have sex, because sex is huge, right? I mean, sex sells. You love sex. You out there playing your Keith Sweat,
Yeah, Anthony Hamilton, baby. That's my guy.
It. And, the lights go down, the Yankee candle gets lit, and what after you have sex, and I'm talking about good sex, not that 5 minute, all right, let's just do what we got to do and you go your way. But after you have sex, move it. You know what I mean? Like there are do's and there are don'ts, especially when you're dealing with women, like, when somebody that you care about, it's not a business transaction. I'm sure we've all had business transactions in our experience lives, but when you're with the person that you love, what do you think is the worst thing to do right after you have sex? I'll tell you what I think is when you just bounce off. I mean, naturally, there's a cleanup process, right? You're not just going to sit there and, unless you want to, like a weirdo.
What are you thinking? What are you thinking about? Just sitting like in your own pool of like stewing or something over there?
Like, you got sticky glue all over you, and there's shit, coming from all different orifices, and you're just laying there like a. And you guys know me. I mean, I'm not looking like Mitch now, so I look like fucking Free Willy over here, and I'm, there's shit all over the walls or whatever. But you got to get cleaned up. But what you don't do is just grab that phone, or you're checking your DraftKings lineup. So there's got to be a level of, the cuddling at the end, or the, what would you say, Rube, is something that you do not do after a beautiful, I'm talking about a good session here, like a nice romantic session. Everybody's happy. She got her fortune cookie. You got your fortune cookie. What don't you do, or what are you not going to do?
I love the one where you say you don't check the waiver wire, you don't go to DraftKings. I think that's definitely going to save a lot of relationships. But
you do go to DraftKings though, and then you punch in our promo code, and we'll hook you
up. Right. You could do that as well, but I know that you're supposed to, kind of like stay in the moment, but there's times that I think like the worst thing you could do is just like think about bills. Think about like start moving around about doing shit, like pick up your checkbook and start balancing checks. Like I think that's a bad, like in your mind you just had an amazing time. But if your girl gets up and she starts doing the, balancing the checkbook or says, you know what I feel like doing? I feel like washing clothes. I think you gotta stop and go and reevaluate what's going on in the bedroom, what's going on in the relationship. So in your mind, you may have been like, yo, I laid it down tonight. I'm the stallion, I'm the stud. I put in that work. But I think that's a bad one.
Nope.
I definitely like the way you just said the business. I think one of the, I've been guilty of this. I can tell you how bad I've been a scumbag. I remember having a person over. I listened. I feel like I'm a pretty good listener. This person had told me they were allergic to, say, like fish or something like that, and I hit it, and then you roll over, and you're famished. Like when you did, it was a lot of sweat. We put in some work. It was a good exercise. It was like we knocked off a lot of calories there, Mitch. So sometimes you want to refuel.
It's a workout, yeah.
Yeah, it was a full workout, and I, like the scumbag that I was at the time, I said, "Hey," she said, "Oh my God, I'm ready to eat. Do you have something to eat?" I said, "I'm sorry, the only thing I have is fish." I just said whatever I knew she was allergic to, so she could get up and get the hell out of the house. So as far as like, what are some of the one of the things that you don't say, you don't tell the woman that you've had better. I mean, I think guys have fragile egos. You don't want to. Women out there shouldn't want to crush a guy. Oh, here's my last one before I let Mitch go. Don't ask me to rate it. Don't ask, or you shouldn't. Yeah, you shouldn't ask. So how was that on a scale of 1 to 10? If you do that, for anybody that's out there, if that's part of what you're doing, you're bad as my small dick colonizer friend that passed away out there getting penile implants. It's just a killer. Don't do it. So go. You're on you, Mitch. Oh,
Gustav?
man, yeah, something. All I remember, he's the guy that's hung like a light switch.
Yeah, that poor bastard. It's over for him.
It's gone. Well, what do you think, Mitch?
No, you guys stole my thunder. Actually, those are my number 1 and 2. Basically, nothing is more awkward. I mean, it's a 21st century problem because it's like when I first got in the game and first got my willy wetted, we didn't have cell phones by the nightstand. It was just like, you had no choice but to roll over and do a little cuddling or a little, if there's foreplay, then there's post play. There's like a little bit of maybe extra touching at the end game, but that
used to be a cigarette for me.
Oh, there you go. Something like old school.
Oh, you was drinking John Collins and smoking a cigarette. You a grown man.
I mean, that's definitely some madman shit. Definitely. I mean, look. I mean, you can't thumb through your phone. I mean, nothing. You were just in the dim yellow light of the moon, embracing one another, feeling breath softly on your neck, and then when it's all done, you're gonna flip open that iPhone with the Face ID and get the blue light special. I mean, that's ridiculous. You can't just thumb through your feed. It's just a weird, unintimate, robotic, autonomous. That for me is
robotic. Yeah,
it is robotic.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes to show you just how, like, you might question how connected was I to that moment that just passed. I mean, the answer is obviously not very. If you could snap out of it that quickly, so. That was my number 1 no, and number 2, like, you really don't want to check in with the person and be like, so how did I measure up? Like, that's just, let's not do that, because then that was the last time we're ever going to do it.
That's the shit you got to do during. You got to make adjustments during. Do you feel okay? Does it feel okay? Can we elevate? Do you want to switch it up? Because you want to.
Romeo.
This guy is smooth over here.
Right.
He's laying down game. Me, I think you could definitely throw out the cash or credit. I think that's one.
But that's the insecurity too that we were talking about with the insecurities. I mean, you want to make sure that you're, physically, attracted to that person. Putting it down, or you want to make sure the person's in the moment, and But I mean, I'm guilty of post the post game, after the cleanup process, I just burned, 78 calories, and now I need a fucking sandwich or something. Like,
you getting up?
I gotta get up, maybe have a bite of a brownie or something. I can rationalize that real quick.
How you feeling? How you feeling if your shorty rolls over and say, "Yo, make America great again"?
I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna say I need about 5 minutes. She says make America great again. I'm gonna say get out of here with that Trump shit.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what mega meant till the other day.
Oh, really?
Mega.
Oh, interesting.
Mega.
Oh my God.
Mega Man.
You've been seeing this for a minute.
Yo, Mitch.
I know
Mitch, we're fucked up. If he's just figuring out what MAGA meant, we're
we didn't do our job.
We're doing a bad job. We're doing a bad job.
No, but I give a shit about him.
No, exactly. But it's that's a great call, man. I mean, and it just sound violent. MAGA.
Absolutely.
It's MAGA. Fucking it sounds like a hog call or some shit.
Yeah.
This whole thing is ridiculous. This actually we can't go down that road right now. Never mind. I'm just gonna stop right there.
We can go down whatever road you want.
We go down whatever road. Listen, man. Yeah, it's sick
That's
out
our
here.
topic.
That's right. Deportation, immigration, all of it. Everything is. We'll run through it all. We're gonna touch it all. We're gonna touch reparations. We're gonna touch deportation. Right. I think it's all on the table for us to jump on. Today we wanted to have some fun, but let's ask Mitch. I've been following your Instagram, Strongevity, and the question that Justin and I have is, what's up with all the pull-ups? Like, I've been watching your pull-up game is strong right now. You've been putting in a lot of work. You're making me envious. I'm starting my routine. I've been doing a little work. I got a 90 day goal by the end of the summer where I want to be. So I'm watching you do your pull-ups. Tell me hit me up with the what's the Scientology behind that?
Yeah, I mean, well, for me personally, it's been something I've always incorporated pull-ups in my workouts. I was actually caught off guard when I started personal training as to like how few people could do pull-ups. Basically, the majority of people can't do proper pull-ups, at least the people I train. And it's because it's a very difficult exercise, and unless you like kind of keep up with your body as the years go on, and like you're doing pull-ups every year, and like you're used to what your body feels like to pull up, it's going to be a hard game to catch up to. But in this particular challenge, honestly, like I like to just pick some sort of on the edge kind of goal, something that's definitely out of my reach, and then go for it. Because otherwise working out can be very monotonous. Like you just hit the treadmill, hit the weights, like it's the same thing all the time. In this case, I just decided like endurance was one aspect of my fitness that I wasn't addressing enough, like doing high reps of whatever the thing may be. And so for me, like a lofty goal was to try and get to the 30 pull-up mark. I know I could always get high teens, low 20s. Like that was like my normal set. I could probably do that. But trying to increase that number by 50%, it's proven to be very, very challenging because like you just reach a saturation point where your body's like, yeah, I mean, I'll give you a little more than what you're used to, but to get to that next level has been a real challenge. So what I'm doing right now is I'm basically messing with my rest time. So whereas before I would like max out and do like 20 pull-ups and just gas myself, and I would need like 5 minutes before I could jump on the bar again and get even like 10 or 15 pull-ups. Now I'll just go all out, just get as many as I can, and then I'll hop right back to it over and over and over again for like 30-second rest intervals. And what I'm noticing is that was the key to unlocking more pull-ups in one given max rep set. So by cutting rest time, I'm adapting my muscles to recover quicker and to produce force, to be able to produce the same force again on a fatigue system. So that's been the main thing I'm talking. And you can really do this with any exercise. I chose pull-ups, but let's say you wanted to, just have more arm endurance because you play tennis or box, or you wanted more leg endurance because you do, mountain climbing or cycling, then you could do the same thing. Choose an exercise that targets that body part and then mess with your rest time to give yourself less rest.
Okay, well, I'm going to try that. I'm definitely on it. I've been watching you do the pull-ups. Justice said
We got
he's
a
going to
lot
get
of
on
body
board.
part talk.
Yeah. Today was definitely a body part talk, and it wasn't
True.
creepy. It wasn't
No.
creepy. I don't think it was creepy like OJ's videos have been very creepy. Fucking OJ Simpson.
God
But
damn that. Yeah.
damn, that fucking guy, right? Right, Ribs?
I was supposed to.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be my name. My
Right.
dad was gonna name me OJ. Actually, my mom came in and vetoed that in 1982.
Right.
So
Saved you.
saved me.
OJ, bring your creepy ass onto the show. We'd love to
Please.
fucking sit down and chat it up with you. You know, I met you years ago. I met your daughter years ago. The only reason I say you creepy is because, dude, something about your skin is starting to, I don't know, you reached a certain age, you know, you're not the smooth cat daddy that you used to be, and you got a lot of baggage and you got a lot of things going on. And, you know, you can't just weird people out with all of this stuff that you're doing right now. And a lot of people are not feeling it. So, but I love to hear about some more of you. You know, what are the things that you feel other than that you've been doing with your life that other than golf that the people can kind of that might be able to resonate with. But you know, what is he doing right now? Just is he doing like fantasy football? Is he? What is this guy's doing?
I don't know, but I know one thing: he is getting roasted on Twitter, and it's beautiful. I don't think he cares. He's one of these people that there's just no. You know, O.J. Simpson is. Well, he's a great running back. We know that much, but he's an animal. We know the story, and we don't have to get into it. And then he did more time, and look. The fact of the matter is, O.J. Simpson is a violent individual, and that's just cut and dry. I mean, he heard tapes of the robbery with the sports memorabilia. He's a violent dude, but now he's on Twitter talking about fantasy football and Patrick Mahomes, and like, you gotta go on Twitter and read the commentary under his videos, because everything, and I'm guilty of chiming in a little bit too. And then it's funny is because I asked him to come on the podcast, but that shit ain't gonna happen. So I'll roast him a little bit. But he's, you know, beyond a midlife crisis. This is a man that if you had the chance that he's had, you just go and run like Saddam Hussein and just bury yourself in a cave somewhere.
Wow. I know O.J. Simpson shouldn't be influencing anybody. If people are out there actually ready to convert or follow O.J. for some pertinent advice, fucking go shoot yourself. Nah, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Nah, you're fucking out.
No,
I'm just fucking with you. I'm just fucking with you.
Do you know what I think is going to be in store for this podcast in the next few weeks? You won't even say the president's first name. You call him like, what is he? 46?
Trumpy. 45. 45.
45.
45. AKA Trumpy.
We will have a special on him. We'll just talk about how much it's all bullshit. We know that, but have an episode we can just kind of talk about what's right, what's wrong, and roll the times back with him. I would hate to dedicate a whole episode because there's so much more shit, but we got to talk. I think it's necessary to.
Oh, good. Yo,
this is good stuff. Episode 13, boys. It was nice hooking up with y'all tonight.
Yes, sir. Yo, Mitch, I catch up with you. Just be good. Everybody out there, love.